Don Mazzella here again for Small Business Digest. We've been talking about it for years, over the years, cybersecurity. People have come and talked about it ad nauseum, but unfortunately, we need to keep talking about it. And we've also got some information about what it costs small business and big business every time we have a security breach. We have with us today Fleming Shee. He's going to talk about it. He's with Barracuda, and he's Chief Technical Officer, Technology Officer. Do you also wash their windows? Uh, Fleming, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, Don, for having me here. It's great to meet you and be able to talk about this topic.
Okay, but first before we do anything else, as we ask all our guests, tell us a little bit about yourself, then a little bit about your company, and finally, a website people can learn more.
Absolutely. So a little bit about myself. I'm Fleming Shee, currently the CTO at Barracuda Networks. I joined the company in the cybersecurity realm, I would say, in 2004. So it's been a while. And as we celebrated 20 years of Barracuda's anniversary, I'm very fortunate and I would also say proud to be part of this organization, working through many years building products in initially Barracuda was much about fighting spam, actually junk mail, evolved into a multitude of things to actually protect our customers, including spear phishing, malware that's either email borne or network or application level borne type of malware. Our goal is to obviously protect our customers for life. Along the journey, they started out using Exchange servers in the days when we started the company. Now the world has shifted to a SaaS centric kind of IT practices, which makes accessibility a major topic and identity being another major topic. So Barracuda offers solutions in beyond just email protection, but also in the network application and data protection areas, which covers a lot of the attack surfaces from the bad guys to the best way I can describe as our customer transform into SaaS, into distributed environments, into working from home remotely, users using their own devices. We want to continue to protect our customers with all the solutions we offer today, primarily to prevent all the crazy data breaches and hackers' activities once they get into the environments. So that's the topic today. Look forward to speak about that. At the same time, you can always visit www.barracuda.com, where we have information about our products, services, and the focus areas we are, basically have been innovating for many years to protect our customers out.
Okay, before we go to what we'll want to talk about today, I have to ask you a question. It seems to me that many breaches occur because employees make mistakes of target companies. If you had to say one single thing that an employee should do to prevent a security breach, what would it be?
Right. So definitely the human factor, as you described, is one of the weakest links because every employee it's a target. It's a potential target. So that means they could be the ones that click on a link or open a file or exchange certain secrets accidentally, right? And I think the key there is to train them constantly as the cybersecurity the attack surfaces evolve and the complexity increase. I think the training needs to be more more complete, more comprehensive, and even to some degree start much earlier. At the moment, I believe our training, our security awareness capabilities in terms of all small, medium-sized businesses are still catching up to the attackers' abilities. So definitely that's one area to focus on. And I will say, because I mentioned training, part of the training, I think one of the critical areas is the communication that's coming through. In this case, obviously, by large, email communications, one of the most important and probably dominant business use communication platforms out there, right? And I think it's important to make sure you pay attention to email security very closely.
Okay, so you're here to talk about something else. Tell us why we're sitting here talking.
Right. So as we have gone through the cybernomics review recently, we have seen the average annual cost in response to a compromise, a data breach, which represents your data assets, could be related to your customer, could be related to your organization. It's above $5 million. And I think it's also important to recognize part of that $5+ million is related to paying ransom, dealing with the incident. The other part is actually loss of business. That is really important to recognize because most of the attacks are very disruptive, causing the business to stall, sometimes not able to recover, turning into very disastrous situations. Also, if you think about these attacks, or they're constantly getting more sophisticated because they could be social engineered to target executives, to target critical functions inside an organization, where one simple mistake can lead to a very bad outcome. So that said, if you think about the amount of time people, the anxiety, the IT workers, or even I would just say security professionals within organizations, if you do have a security group, a team, their anxiety level is very high, and it's understandable because this is constantly happening every day, right? So you hear these news all the time, and now within 2023, we saw sort of the initial phase of generative AI taking main stage, creating possibilities and allowing the attackers to move much faster with a higher volume and accuracy. Unfortunately, that also increases the amount of basically anxiety people have and organizations have, because they're obviously concerned, because not only it's very damaging for each attack, when all they have to do is to have one out of in this case we actually had another number, human driven basic attackers by manually human driven, their success rate is 2,500 to 1, right? So now with capabilities of generative AI, be able to construct much more trustworthy phishing weapons, this volume is going to go up, right? So that's an anxiety that is sort of added in 2023, and we're gonna see security tools, including Barracuda. We'll take that head on and basically identify ways to prevent these type of attacks from happening and reduce the amount of damage. There's some recommendations we're going to talk about later on, but generally, it's important to pay attention to the development of generative AI and how it's related to the efficiency, effectiveness of those cyber attacks.
Well, you said something earlier, which I probably forgot, but we're sitting here today. We're under attack, and my audience is small business. They just simply do not have tools or the understanding to fight it. How do you convince people to take services like yours?
Mm. Yeah. So first of all, you're absolutely right. I think when I started at Barracuda 20 years ago, the situation was different. The attacks are um, more manageable, I would say, in a sense where also the attacks are in terms of numbers or volume is lower. And I think moving towards today, after 20 years, you see the development of everything, right? Including the phishing capabilities, the malware they create, the marketplace behind the scene for the ransomware, almost as a service type of setup for the bad guys, right? So their economical power has increased by a lot, including the development of blockchain, making payment a lot more difficult to trace. So empowering them to actually execute on these attacks. Um, so generally, I think that level of complexity definitely is too much for small businesses, especially if you're looking at between 100 to 5,000 employees, or maybe even less, right? I mean, 100 to, let's say, 500 employees. Unlikely you're going to have a tool set with enough people and resources to actually spend time on it all the time, right? And especially your focus area may not be technology, it could be actually healthcare, could be other areas, other trades. Now, if you look at the numbers, right? So we did this study, the first 3 quarters in 2023, we saw the number of data compromises or data breaches, go from, about 1,800 to 2,100, right? So the number is increasing. So what that means is the spread of attack is not just targeting a particular group. It's almost anyone who is using the digital platforms and doing their work or interacting with the SaaS application, like the emails through Microsoft 365. It's a great example. So that from that perspective, the way you think about how to make investment is, first of all, if it costs $5 million to actually to recover or respond to a situation, you may not need to spend $5 million up front. The amount of spending and actually identify threats, eliminate the threats early in a kill chain, a cyber kill chain, could be a lot less. So it's incentivizing to actually pay a lot less as not only prevention but also detection and response as early as possible within the sort of the cyber kill chain. There's a special framework called MITRE ATT&CK framework that allows you to recognize attacks much quicker. And when you do that on the left side of the kill chain, you eliminate the more damaging sort of phases in a scenario when the attacks already infiltrated your environment, already laterally moved, and actually identify assets to take, eventually demand ransom, right? So the point there is you can be a lot more, let's just say, efficient in stopping these attacks if you're focusing prevention, detection, and response. And the other thing to think about is building tools. We were making products. We still do that today very much, but we also offer a solution through our MSP channel, which is managed service provider. And those are the people you might be, if you're a small business, might be already working with in handling IT equipment or setting up your environment for email or applications. We're providing cybersecurity through there, through an XDR platform, and actually build a SOC as a service. SOC represents Security Operations Center. So we actually provide the service to handle the incident, to actually detect and respond to the incident much quicker, making that more affordable to small businesses. I think that's one area to consider as well. So if you have an MSP or if you have an MSSP, those are all avenue that you can get to Barracuda's tooling and SOC as a service in relatively inexpensive but also accessible, I'll call it, manner, right? So making it more secure for your users, more secure for your organization.
Well, let me ask you this question. Are you safer in the cloud or having your own internal system?
Given what we are doing today with our mobile devices, everything, you're definitely safer in the cloud. The reason I say that is because implementing some of these applications on-prem much harder, and managing access into your environment through VPNs and design in that way, providing IP level access is a lot more riskier. So SaaS applications are the future. People are using SaaS because you don't have to have the underlying infrastructure to host the application, and you don't have to expose the entire network when you need to have your users to access these applications, especially now the world is very distributed. So in that way, I think I stand by my answer. The cloud is safer. You just have to focus on protecting your SaaS applications. And remember, Microsoft 365 is the biggest SaaS out there, right? It's not only email because it also provides file sharing, sometimes collaboration through Teams and all those things. So it's important to recognize that's the future. Yeah.
Before we go any further, your website for people?
As I mentioned, you can go to barracuda.com. You can find a lot of information about our solutions and our products. And also check out the blog section because we talk about different type of threats, how malware are being created and how they're used. We actually have a series called Malware 101 that's alive and well on the blog site. So take a look at that. Yeah.
Well, we have just a couple of minutes left. What would you like to leave our audience with?
Definitely have a plan as you think about cybersecurity in 2024. Make sure you have a business continuity plan along with your cybersecurity response plan. And remember, the plan doesn't have to be all the people that works inside your organization. You can always try to leverage your MSP, talk to your MSP about a SOC as a service like the one Barracuda offers. And understand the capability and how quickly it can this particular service you might be inquiring about, how quickly it can detect and respond, right? And it's important to also recognize, just as we started off, you have to have a vigilant culture. We have to be aware and having understanding of the difficulties and the damage the cybersecurity incident can cause will allow you to make a better decision in your investment phase and actually being able to stop the attack much faster during an incident. So I think this is what I want to leave with the audience. And keep it simple, really. Don't make it too difficult on yourself. And sometimes if you need help, as I mentioned, hire a SOC as a service through your MSP or MSSP. Yeah.
Well, before we go, I'm going to ask, what are some of the questions that someone coming to you should be asking you about about creating a service, a relationship? What are some of the things they should be asking you?
Right. So first of all, if they are inquiring about the product sets, make sure the products actually speak the same language, quote unquote, is basically the information it emits. It's basically integration integratable with many other systems, right? Let it be a SIM, let it be a SOAR or XDR. But other questions I would encourage people to ask is, really the response cycle related to the incident, and also ask for assessment of the access to what systems, and look for a tool to allow the tool to actually do a report where you I think those will be the initial set of things to open up with any vendor, to make sure you have a way to visualize and understand where you are today, and understand the capabilities where you're going after, whether it's going to meet your needs.
Your website one last time.
Barracuda.com.
On that note, we say Fleming Shi, thank you for I learned a lot, and I've been talking about this for a long time. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome, Don. Thank you very much.